If I could have my slide, please. Hello. I will start by a premise. I promise you that in 15 minutes you will get a coffee. So that's a good begin. So let's talk about the role of communities in tackling disinformation and foreign influence. For that, I would like to use an example that we have worked on, which is the operation overload. First, we need to state something which is obvious but still needs to be stated. Civil society plays a crucial role in combating foreign influence. We can quote we can name the last operation that have been managed, not to name it Doppelganger, the Celebrity Network, Paperwall, or No Embargo Achieved, which have been investigated by amazing organizations such as the EU Disinfo Lab, DFR Lab, Reset Tech, AI Forensic, or Logically. Let's talk about operation overload. First, what is operation overload? It starts by something very easy. It's an email that you received every day to start with. The emails are always the same. It starts with a sensationalist subject like, hey, could you check this for me, please? It comes always from a normal email address. It's a Gmail address. Like here, we can see Philippe Modera. Yeah, it's a normal name. And then you have like all those Telegram links, all those X links, all those website links, and those media that you can find in the email with video and attachments. And it's always the same tone, like, hey, could you do that for me, please? Could you verify that for me? At the very beginning, it was 1 email per day, but soon it started to be way more than 1 email per day. So the question was like, I asked my colleague, like from another organization, hey, do you receive also those weird email, or is it just us? Because Checkfirst is not a fact-checking organization. We are never published any fact-checking. We are not verifying anything, although they were still asking us. And yeah, actually, my colleague from another organization was also receiving this email. So I was like, well, maybe I should ask to more organizations, do you also receive those emails? And actually, yes, and it wasn't only email. It was email received by organization, but those organizations was also pinged on X, for example, like, hey, could you verify this for me? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 5 times per day. All this content produced always with the same target, fact-checkers and media organization. Operation overload is still an ongoing operation, and it's a large-scale operation coming from Russia. In June, when we started our first report, 20 organizations was targeted by Operation Overload. A bunch of them already. 3 months later, 200 of them are targeted. We had a list of 200 organizations that every day received email asking them to verify information which are basically false to start with. That takes time to verify all those things. If you look at numbers, it's 245 emails that were sent last month, without counting this month. It's 17,000 emails that were sent containing false information, and more than 300 debunks that have been published on those claims. I'm not going to talk about Telegram. It's a problem. I'm not talking about X. It's an issue. You can find all the narrative on those platforms. But what are the techniques used by Operation Overload? And this is a very interesting one. First, there is something which is quite new, which is called content amalgamation. What is that? Let's say I want you to believe into something. I've done study in marketing, I've done my exams, and I know that if I want you to believe in my brand, I need to touch you through 3 different vectors. So I will run advertisement on TV, then I will run advertisement on radio, and then I will run advertisement on social media. So the next time that you will hear the name of my brand, you will know about it, and you would feel comfortable with the idea of my brand. Russia just applied this marketing technique to disinformation. They will create a fake video speaking about a topic, then do a screenshot about this fake video, then create fake Instagram or TikTok story talking about this event, and can even go to fake graffiti or doctorate photo, either cheap or deep deepfake on the narrative. All of them, why? It's a trap. It's for fact checkers, because you see that content, you're like, oh, but I saw that over there, I saw that over there. Oh my God, it's everywhere. I need to talk about it. Well, No, you don't need. It's just content amalgamation. It's basically the same content which is reused, reused, reused in different contexts to give you the impression that this content is everywhere. But it is absolutely not. Another goal of content amalgamation, it's also something that we don't talk enough. It's about domestic influence. Operation overload starts always from the same point. It starts on Telegram channels which are pro-Russian, pro-Kremlin. And the disinformation is published in Russian before being translated in English or national language where the target is. Second technique, very interesting and very dangerous, and please, please, please listen to this part, QR code. QR code are very dangerous. The first occurrence of QR code was found in June. And at the beginning, we saw one post with one QR code. We warned the entire community, pay attention, QR codes are very dangerous because you can change the content of a QR code. When you scan a QR code, you can see the URL. You would scan the QR code and go to this URL. You don't know what's behind. They can load a malware for you. So far, not. But they understood that 1 month after, 2 months after that, we said, take care about the QR code. Now you will find hundreds of posts from Operation Overload that contain those QR codes. Because they have understood that people are actually scanning those QR codes. They are looking at the website which is behind. And so using them again and again, proving their adaptability and how they can change their tactic very, very fast. So the question was, how are we going to fight that? It's not illegal to send an email. It's not illegal to ping someone on X asking them to verify. There's nothing illegal over there. But we can talk with the target. As the target was the fact-checkers and media organization, we decided with EU Disinfo Lab and Reset Tech to bring on the table everybody. And before releasing our report, to have a discussion with all the fact-checkers that were targeted, explaining to them, you are receiving those emails, you are pinged on X, you are seeing those narratives on Telegram. It's all the same thing. Everything belongs to this operation overload. Please do not amplify it. This is the goal. The goal is for you to talk about it. What's the result of this is that more content that we could analyze from Operation Overload. And when we looked at the content, well, this is an email from February 2024 between Correctives, the German fact-checkers, and Operations Overload operator. So first you can see at the bottom of the screen the original email. Would you be kind enough to check this news? Corrective, nicely enough in February, answered them. Oh, okay, this is a fake news. You can find it there and there. And this is their answer. In fact, I would like to send this to news organizations, to other organizations for verification. Okay, interesting. Maybe if you have a link to the article, I could help to spread it. So nice of them, they want to help us. Of course, we are going to do something with you. But if you look at the email details, you can see that the date is actually written in Russian. If you look at the content of the email, sometimes you receive it in English, as we do, but sometimes the translation is not working. You're receiving it in Russian. So the question after that is, what did we achieve by doing that? Because there is always the question of, why are you doing that? First, Operation Overload was recognized as a threat by the European Union and the Commission. In one of their press releases, they recognized Doppelganger and as Overload as threat for the European election. Our report has been downloaded 60,000 times, which is the most downloaded report that we have ever seen. We have had a worldwide press coverage that helped us to raise awareness among the communities. The result, Overload did fuck during the European election. Nothing happened. All the narrative was dead. After 1 week before the beginning of the election, they already switched to something else. Same for the Olympics. They tried many narratives against the Paris Olympic. Didn't work because all the French fact-checkers was absolutely aware that it was Operation Overload and there was no need to amplify those narratives by fact-checking them. If we, that's the word of Natalie Tagerfish, which is the the head of the newsroom of CheckThat in Sweden, I think, explaining that because of our report, that's how they were able to raise awareness amongst their community and to avoid having to basically do this work of fact check and each and every claim, amplifying them one by one. But we didn't work only with the fact checkers, and I want here to raise that point that we also need to work with the platforms. Here, our issue was on Gmail. Gmail is not a very large online platform. It's just a platform under the DSA. It's important to communicate with the platforms to be able to basically start to tackle the issue with them. The community is not only CSO, civil society organization, fact checkers, and platforms, and policymakers. The community is a whole. We need together to talk every time at every step. It's very important. Keep on fighting. Yes, as I told you, well, Operation Overload is still very, very active. I just received like 5 mail, I think, this morning. They are very happy about the result of the US election, of course, and totally switched their narrative into something else. They are back to the anti-Ukrainian narratives. During the US campaign, we have seen many, many, many narratives against Kamala Harris, none against Donald Trump. The results are, I will let you decide what it is. But the difference between Europe and the US was that in Europe, we warned everybody. Everybody was really aware of what was Operation Overload and what was their goal. In the US, we tried to bring this kind of awareness, and unfortunately, we couldn't. And I will just show you this little screenshot, which is a statement from the FBI explaining that 2 videos that have been produced are actually not true video from the FBI. Just by doing this statement, the posts that were containing the video before the statement had approximately 1,000 views. After the statement, it get 100,000 views. So we really must stay alert and understand how this works. Little extra bonus, because I like to talk about that. So we published the report about doppelgangers, and our friend from Russia just minted us by spoofing our identity. So you can see Operation Overload spoofing BBC, TF1, big US organization, and also suddenly Checkfirst. Remember, we don't publish fact check, we don't publish video, we are a CSO, we don't do that. So when Russians not happy, Russians do that. Thank you so much for your attention. Please do not hesitate to scan this QR code to download our report, and I'm happy to take a question.